Phoenix tonight, guests past, present, and future. That's probably the biggest get we'll ever have here. Wilson the volleyball. That's a great way to segue right into tonight's guests, isn't it? We have a tremendous list of guests for you. The first is the organizer of Ignite Phoenix, and he has more stories to tell than this show would allow. I'm going to ask him as many in-depth questions about his adventures here in Phoenix as I possibly can. I'm excited to have Jeff Moriarty here, everybody. Give it up for Jeff Moriarty. Thank you. Did you ever think you'd follow a volleyball on a show of this caliber?
I never did.
Well, it's our pleasure to fulfill that unknown need that you have.
This couch is a pleasure.
Isn't it?
Yes. A couple
Now-
springs missing, but
Well, and it's fortunate that you're wearing pants when you sit on that couch, because sometimes you don't. Sometimes you ride the light rail pantsless, is that right?
pants are extremely overrated.
Wow. But tell me about, because I've ridden the light rail, and I have, on occasion, not worn pants, but never the two things together. What is the, people do this here in Phoenix, if you're watching on YouTube. It's a day that folks do. What's the deal?
Well, it's
What's
not
the
just,
deal with the pants free on the light rail?
Well, let me tell you. So it started, well, there's a group out of New York called Improv Everywhere, and they do pranks and flash mobs. They had a whole group go into Best Buy wearing blue shirts and khakis, so it looked like there were like 100 employees.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, we did that at the Apple store here. That was kind of fun.
Oh, wow.
But they do a no pants subway ride every January on the subway, and which I'm not sure in New York how you actually tell the difference between a normal day on the subway.
I would think the percentage of urine smell. He only has a 20% urine smell,
Yeah.
as opposed to the regular pantsless riders, strong 75, 80% urine
It's a
smell.
slight difference.
Yeah.
But they've been doing this for several years, and they said one year, hey, we want to do this worldwide. So we're going to make it a global no pants subway ride. So if you have public transportation in your town, take off your pants, get in your underwear, and go ride your subway or light rail or whatever you have.
Wow. And it's a specific day here in the Valley, or is it?
It's a specific day worldwide.
Oh, okay.
And they decided to do this the year that the light rail started in Phoenix.
It's as if the city knew. There was a zeitgeist that said, you know what, we need a forum for pantsless riding.
Exactly.
I've been doing it in my own vehicle for so long. Now I need to do a public.
Yeah, I've been preparing for years.
Training for this.
Exactly.
Different.
It's my time to shine.
I've been different qualities of road to get to evolve with the vibration of the vehicle. I'm ready for the light rail. Very cool.
So it was just before, it was the week after the light rail opened here. And I said, by God, we finally have some public transportation in this town. Someone is going to ride our light rail without their pants on if I have to do it myself.
Wow.
And we had 80 people that first year. And that was kind of scary because kind of a conservative town, wasn't sure how that was going to be received. Boy Genius here tried to plan for it by calling the police department and asking, like, is that legal? Is that considered indecent exposure? And they wanted to know why I wanted to know. And I was like, no hablo inglés. Didn't really think that one through in terms of information gathering. But it went well, and now we get about 500-600 people, and
Wow.
it's pretty
What was the general reception that first day? Because the light rail in and of itself, as you say, was new. And now here comes a small group of folks, pantsless. Were people looking at the signage thinking, is this how we're supposed to ride?
Well, we had, I remember we had a big debate over where we were going to take off our pants. Again, thinking things through. We didn't want to like run up there in our underwear because we figured we might get stopped. We didn't want to do it on the platform and cause an accident. So we decided to all get on the train and then have everybody drop trowel at the same time, which caused its own problem. And I remember so clearly this elderly, gray-haired lady sitting there, which unfortunately puts her at crotch height for everybody standing. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much, full view.
Wow.
And then the train started working, we all looked at each other, and they all just pulled our pants down. And she's like, oh, come on! Oh, this is, you people should be ashamed. She was watching this tirade.
Wow.
Yeah, Yeah, and I think it was her first ride on our brand new light rail.
Oh.
And she just saw the business district.
Still has that new light rail smell, and then
Yeah.
the trowel gets dropped.
My favorite two stories, though, of that first time, we went out to Lux, coffee shop, and they were in their original kind of small location. And we told them we were coming. And we got off there, and part of the premise is you act like you just forgot your pants.
Okay.
So people ask what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have no idea. Look at that. So we get out there, and everybody's trying to play it straight. And we all file into Lux. And Lux is a very narrow, long coffee shop, right? And there's some people working along one wall, and you've got the baristas and so on the other wall. And suddenly there's 80-some people just forming this giant line in for coffee, not one of them wearing pants.
Wow.
And we get in there, we're all kind of smiling, and this woman comes out of the restroom in the back. And she had this look on her face like reality itself was warping for her. She stopped, she turned around like she walked into the last coffee shop. Because she'd just gone in there, I assume, for like 30 seconds, a minute or whatever.
Sure.
And comes out, and suddenly she's in one of like 5 people wearing pants in the whole place. But then a guy came in behind and was asking everybody, what's going on with the pants? And nobody would tell him. It's like, fine. Dropped his trowel, tossed him over his shoulder, and joined right in.
That is the power of that's the bandwagon technique right there. Fantastic. And he hasn't worn pants since. I've seen him around town. He was so moved
He's
by
still
it.
on the light rail, too.
So a Phoenix native or
Originally from Minnesota there.
Minnesota?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You betcha.
And moved to the Valley, Minnesotans?
Oh, yeah.
What are the odds? 15 people, 2 of them from Minnesota. Unbelievable. Very cool.
We're everywhere.
So when did you move to the Valley?
Well, so parents got sick of snow, took me to New Mexico for a while, so I went to high school, and I came out here for my degree, ASU, Grand Sunday.
Very cool. Very cool. And since you've been in the Valley, you founded what I would consider to be the premier public speaking event, Ignite Phoenix. Tell us about what that is, your connection to it, the origins of it, and so on.
Well, so it's been about 8 years now, I think, since we started this. And I love the Valley. I don't mind the heat. It's better than snow. You don't have to shovel it.
Right.
But we're so spread out. And I've always been fascinated by pretty much everything. I love every kind of group, and I've always sort of meandered around and made connections. But it's hard to find those groups in town because we are so spread out.
Mm-hmm.
And before social media really ramped up, you knew sort of what was in your neighborhood and no one else. So I thought, well, what would be a good way to bring people together and just openly share ideas? And I'd go to one group and they'd say, well, there's nothing else going on in town. I said, well, over on Tuesday night, you should go to this place and check them out. No, they should come to our group. So I wanted to create like this idea Switzerland where it didn't have its own agenda. And I've fought for that hard, that Ignite is just about sharing ideas. Any ideas. And we've had an incredible range, and it's not trying to start entrepreneurship or promote the arts or anything. It's just come and get excited about things.
Sure.
And I badgered and bullied a bunch of my friends to do the first one. And they're like, look, if I come and speak at your stupid thing, will you shut the hell up? And I said, probably.
Well, you shut up and put your pants on, for God's sake.
Yes.
Okay.
And the format for Ignite, it was actually started by O'Reilly Publishing out of Seattle, and it's 5 minutes. So whereas TED, which I love as well, and TEDx, which is the local version, is kind of top down. They go out to experts. They say, hey, we want you to come, you're an expert in this field, and you speak about it. Ignite's sort of the other way. This is grassroots, what do you care about? What are you excited about? I want to hear what really gets people passionate about individually. And you get exactly 5 minutes and 20 slides that rotate behind you, and when you're done, you immediately end and the next person comes out. So
Wow.
the topic bores you only have to wait another 4.5 minutes.
Absolutely. And the topics range from everything, a love of things in pop culture and media, personal experiences abroad, food and music. You've how many of them? 18 Ignite Phoenixes now? Or
Yep, we've had 18 of them, 18 of the big ones. We've had a couple offshoots. We have an after-hours one, which is 21 and older only.
oh, very adult.
Yes, very adult.
Okay.
Very adult. And again, that one too, I love especially because it's hard to have conversations where, especially now in our current climate, where you're worried about offending somebody,
Right.
right? And to go to a place where people are just willing to listen to ideas and say, I may not agree with that, I may completely disagree with you, but I will listen. I will understand where you're coming from on that. One of my favorite talks, I have a wide range of them for different reasons, but one I really loved was this guy who came to talk about being a brony. Okay? And a brony is adults who love My Pretty Pony.
Yeah.
It was My
Little
Little
Pony.
Pony. There we go. Sorry. So, so he submitted this talk idea, and I went, oh wow, okay, what is this? But he was so passionate about it, so authentic in his love. Like, let's give it a try.
Sure.
And as every stage this kind of moved through the process, everyone looked at him like, oh boy. All the way to the point where people showed up that night and they look at this on the program and they're like, really?
Wow.
This guy likes little pony cartoons. He's an adult man. And social media, Twitter is like, when he walked out on stage, everyone's like, oh boy, buckle up, here we go, weirdo.
Saddle up.
Yeah. He got up there.
Was he? You say that because he was dressed in?
No, they didn't do the talk order.
Oh, okay,
and they just
sure.
saw this, and suddenly
Right.
they're on stage, and the screen behind them is huge, and suddenly you see this big, pretty pony, and so he starts talking, and you can just see everybody. Oh man, and he spoke with such authenticity. And he said, "Look, I don't get out a lot. I'm not really a social person. I'm very kind of nervous. And I found this show, and it was all about friendship. And I loved it, and it meant a lot to me. And I started meeting other people online who loved it as well. And then we got together, and we had something to talk about. And I made friends that I never had before. And he had this picture of this whole group of at a meetup they had. And he said, look, these are now all my good friends.
Wow.
And that's what the show is about, friendship. And by the end of those 5 minutes, I mean, he got this huge ovation, and everyone said, wow, I'm not going to watch that show, but I get it now, and I love that. What a great story. People are willing to listen, and in 5 minutes you can change somebody's mind from something that they've never even heard about or they just think sounds ridiculous to something like, oh, that is an amazing experience.
And a guy that billed himself as an introvert is speaking, and we should say the forum accommodates 900 people. It's not a small room. It's
Yeah, and that's been one of the challenges as it's grown. The first one was about 80 people in the conference room, and it grew up to about 900. And there's a lot of people who would rather die than speak in public,
right.
Especially in front of 900 people when it's just you and your ideas and a couple pictures behind you. But we worked hard to make an audience that is so welcoming. And I absolutely believe this. It is one of the most supportive audiences you will ever speak in front of. And if people get up there, they know these aren't professional speakers. So if they fumble a little bit, they lose their place, the audience applauds and just encourages them to get back on it because they know that is really, really hard and they want to hear what this person says.
So if somebody wanted to do an Ignite Phoenix presentation, what would they have to do? What are the steps for that?
Well, we have on our website, ignitephoenix.com, they can just fill out, we only ask for a couple lines. We used to have it open-ended and people were submitting like whole PhD papers and books saying like, okay. And we want to know just who you are and what's your idea. And passion is one of those things, you know it when you see it, right?
Yeah.
You know the difference when somebody is trying to tell you something that they're interested in versus trying to sell you something. And we tell our speakers, don't get up there and try to convince people, oh, you should go watch this show, watch this cartoon. Go up there and talk about why you love it. Mm-hmm. And that connects. And we ask people to put that in their submission, and that's it. It takes 2 minutes. And then we have a group of judges, different ones every time, past speakers come in, and they kind of pick the ones that really resonate, and then those become the next people in the presentation.
Fantastic. So the next one is an after hours, is that right? Or
well, the next one we're looking at is going to be Ignite Music. It's going to be a music-oriented one.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, the big one, the numbered ones, are pretty much anything goes. We don't have no sales pitches. And we try to keep it kind of PG-13, just so everybody sort of knows what they're getting into,
Sure.
if they want to go or not. And then we do the topical ones to kind of drill in a little bit. So the next one's going to be music oriented, and then Ignite 19 is going to be probably in May of next year.
Very cool. So again, people can look at ignitephoenix.com for more information about that. Now, you and I are comic book nerds. Is that fair to say? You're a comic book collector?
Oh, yes.
And you told me that you once stopped a mugger. Is that right? A purse snatcher.
A purse snatcher, yes.
I mean, and to me, I just immediately picture you're casually walking down the street with a lady on your arm. You see a crime in progress. Excuse me. And then you chase. Is that how it happened? And you could just say yes and sound like a badass here now, or you can tell the story. And let's see how much more of a badass it paints you. What would happen?
It's more, I don't think it's so much a badass or a dumbass. There's somewhere between
It's a fine
bad
line.
and dumb.
It's a fine line.
So I work downtown Phoenix, and I was coming back from lunch. Actually, it's funny. I went with a friend, and I was going to go a little bit further on to grab lunch, and so she grabbed hers and headed back to work. So I'll be there back in a minute. So I grabbed a bite and I'm walking back. And across the street, across Washington, I hear a woman yell, stop him, he grabbed my purse.
Wow.
So I just start running after this guy. And I realize as I'm running, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm running after this guy. So another guy starts running after him too. I'm like, well, that's good. I'm not the only person running after this guy with no idea what we're doing. So we run around behind this building, and he reaches behind some bushes, and he pulls out a backpack.
Whoa. Okay.
And I tell the other guy, call the cops. And this guy pulls out a knife.
Wow.
So we both said, like, hey, we just start backing up. Again, the whole I don't really know what I'm doing here. It's like,
sure.
You're good, dude. And he grabs his backpack and the woman's purse and takes off running again.
Hmm.
So again, the dumbass kind of reemerged. I started running after him again, giving him a little bit more distance, and I call 911, and I say, we're chasing this guy. He just stole somebody's purse. And they said, well, where are you? And I'm trying to call out streets. This other guy is running behind me. He was a little bit slower than I was. He knew the area better.
Oh.
So I'm like, we're at, I don't know. I was like, Jefferson, thank you. Thank you. So we've got this little parade.
It's like a crime-fighting GPS you have behind you.
So we run down, we go from Washington over to Jefferson, and a bus, there's a city bus stops, and the guy runs and gets on the bus.
Whoa!
And he's got a knife and this woman's purse. So Jefferson's a one-way street, so I can see there's no traffic. So I run up and I pound on the driver's glass. I'm like, that guy's got a knife who just got on your bus. He just stole this woman's purse. So he immediately stops the bus. He turns off the bus, opens the doors, puts his hands up, and I hear this yelling. And then this guy gets off the bus again, and the chase is on again.
Wow!
So I'm yelling this stuff, and the operator on 911 is like, what's he doing? He got on a bus. So I'm yelling at the driver. Like, what are you doing? Yelling at the driver. What bus is it? I don't know what bus this is. It's a bus. He's running again. Whoosh. So he tries to run a few other places, and I'm calling to the police. And the guy behind me is still yelling out, what street he's on. And I'm like, are you sending people, or are you just listening? Because time dilates.
It sounds like you got it.
Yeah, we're just sitting there listening, tackle him.
Right.
Got the popcorn, 911 operator. So finally, we end up going another street further south, and she says, okay, the police should be there momentarily. I didn't realize she meant all of them. I felt it really was probably just 2 or 3 minutes,
Sure.
But it felt like forever.
Absolutely.
The adrenaline and everything else.
Yeah.
And he runs around this corner, and I walk around this corner, and 2 SUVs pull up, 2 motorcycle riders come in from this point, 2 more cars, every single direction. Cops are pouring out of this place. They tell the guy to get down. They've got their guns out, and I'm like, I didn't want to. I'm suddenly, there's the cops everywhere. And I'm like, I'm not the bad guy here.
Right.
They figured it out pretty quick. And then I had my phone out anyway.
Sure.
So I'm like, well, take a picture, which the guy did not like. It really upset him. So he started to get up, and he's like, I'm going to kill you for that.
Wow, really?
Yeah, which the cops did not find entertaining.
Of course.
So then he went back down to the pavement with 4 officers on his back.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then my phone rings, and it's my boss. He's like, "Where the hell are you? You went out for lunch." I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Fighting crime, I'll be in when I'm in.
Yeah. So then I went back to work all sweaty, and they gave me like a victim's statement because he pulled the knife on me.
Sure.
So technically I was a victim of aggravated assault.
Oh, wow.
And well, because it threatened me.
Yeah.
Right. If I went as a victim, then he couldn't actually get my name. Probably it would be withheld from the police report. So
Oh, I
he'd go
see.
find me, kind of thing.
Right.
So I go back, and they're like, "Where were you?" And I tell them like, "No, bull." I have to show the police report and everything.
Yeah.
So then I actually did change my occupation to Batman.
Absolutely. I mean, a foot chase through the streets of downtown Phoenix, there's a city bus involved, I would immediately grow a Tom Selleck mustache and wear big yellow sunglasses
Yeah.
for the rest of my life. I'd feel like I'd earned it at that point.
But my wife was quick to point out, as most of the people I know were quick to point out, that I was a complete moron. You know, chasing somebody with a knife, who knows what else he had.
Very
you know,
true.
But I felt, it worked out well in that she got her purse back. It turns out this guy had been missing from his family. He had a lot of mental issues and had run away. And this helped his family connect with him, and they were able to sort of get him some help and such like
Wow.
that, and everything else. So it worked out well in the end. But
Yeah, I mean, come on. That's
I don't recommend chasing people with knives in the streets of Phoenix and pounding on buses and whatever.
Now, if they make a biopic of your life, is that how it opens, or is that the end of the movie? Which scene should that be?
I would say it would probably be the end.
The end,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I would pitch that it starts with you in the chase. The rest of the movie is a reflection on your life. Then we come back to the chase at the end, and how all of your life experience led to the moment where you realized, if I just took a picture of this guy, and now he wants to hurt me. Thinking there's something there.
Only I knew a comic book illustrator who could put that down.
We'll have to consult the creative event listings on Craigslist or something. Well, thank you very much for being here. Again, ignitephoenix.com. Is that all you'd like to plug by way of a website? Or
That's plenty.
okay, very good, everybody. Give it up for Jeff Moriarty. Hero!